Science.
Earlier this year, a Germanwings jet carrying 150 people crashed into a remote area of the French Alps, killing everyone on board. Authorities say co-pilot Andreas Lubitz, who had suffered from suicidal tendencies and depression, intentionally crashed the Barcelona-Dusseldorf flight, but they're still puzzling over why he did it. Scientists from France, the US and Japan are now working together to better understand how a pilot's brain functions. The Germanwings accident was a unique case, so scientists have extended their research to understand pilots' physiological and neurological reactions to stress, with the aim of being able to identify the signals that precede potential error in order to prevent it. No matter how well trained and experienced a pilot is, human error is always possible. In this lab in the French city of Toulouse, a team is developing instruments that might help the pilot handle the workload. We're trying to better understand what can cause human error by using the same tools as neuroscientists, like electroencephalography, measuring the heart rate, perspiration, the pupil diameter, or eye tracking, which means tracking the pilot's gaze at any given moment. So we're carrying out all of these tests in order to better understand how a human being functions in poor conditions, under stress or when tired, in order to prevent accidents when it's possible. Wired-up pilots flying a real light aircraft are put in situations of forced landing. Meanwhile, their brain activity is measured and recorded. Professor of Neuroergonomics Frédéric Dehaye explains how the eye-tracking device works. It's very light, it weighs less than 80 grams. It has a frontal camera which shows us where the pilot is looking, his field of vision. And here we have another camera, a smaller one, that films the eye pupil and shows us in real time in which direction the pilot's looking. Pupil dilation is a reliable external indicator of mental stress, according to experts. The scientists can watch as a highly stressed pilot's brain literally shuts down many of its critical faculties and shifts from rational decision to emotional reaction. At that point, the pilot is in a state of so-called inattentional deafness, where audible alarms and spoken instructions are ignored. One of the solutions would therefore be to reduce the load of information directed at the pilot.
So the future cockpit will use hopefully a non-invasive brain-machine interface, be able to monitor attentional workload of the pilot and use countermeasures through technology and a perhaps heads-up display to present information to the pilot in the most optimal way and to reduce the amount of information in the pilot optimally so that under high workload conditions, it's only the situation that they need to deal with is what they need to attend to.
Since the Germanwings crash last March, pilots' behavior has been under scrutiny. However, researchers believe we're still a long way from switching to completely automatic, pilotless planes. First of all, there's a psychological barrier. Passengers are not prepared to board an aircraft without a pilot. Having just one pilot on board, well, unfortunately, we saw what happened with the Germanwings crash. So I think there'll still be two pilots inside the cockpit for a while to come. The potential of this research goes further, as it could also be used during the pilot selection process and for monitoring the effectiveness of training techniques in cockpit design. And it could even be applied to other high-stress jobs, such as surgeons or people working in nuclear power control.